Hi, welcome to Lee on the Lectionary. Today we're looking at the lectionary readings for the fourth Sunday of Easter in Year C. And those readings are Acts chapter 9 verses 36 to 43, John chapter 10 verses 22 to 30, and Revelation 7 verses 9 to 17. Our readings this week expound the work of Christ our shepherd, who will keep his chosen people safe to the end. Acts chapter 9 continues the story of the ascended Jesus' rule over the church. In a narrative pregnant with gospel parallels, Jesus raises the only woman to be given the name disciple in Acts, Tabitha, just as he had earlier raised the little girl, Talitha, with a word of gentle command. This time, he does it through his apostle, Peter, who was actually there when Jesus originally performed the same miracle in Mark chapter 5, verses 35 to 43. His sheep hear his voice, and up they come. Jesus charged people not to talk about what he did on that first occasion, but word of what he did this time through Peter could not be constrained, and many people believed in the Lord because of it. Chrysostom preaches some very strange eisegetical nonsense on this passage about widows overcoming God with their alms and prayers, even on behalf of a debauched and sinful man, mitigating his punishment and saving him from hell by the great quantity of their supplications. Yet Peter looks at the wailing widows and the needlework of Tabitha, who was undoubtedly a godly woman, and he simply puts them all outside and prays. This hardly qualifies as evidence that we may benefit others by our generous almsgiving and prayers, but it rather points to the power of God alone, who upholds all things by his powerful word. The point is that the apostolic word has power to raise the dead, just as Jesus' word did. He continues to shepherd his people. This is exactly what he promised in John chapter 10. To people seeking certainty and clarity, he pointed to his works as evidence for who he was. Yet people would not believe in him because they were not his sheep. It's fascinating there, isn't it, that Jesus does not say, "You are not my sheep because you do not believe." The thought here is not that they disqualify themselves from being his sheep by not listening to him, which they could if they chose to. Rather, more startlingly, I think, Jesus is saying this: "You are not mine in the first place, and that is why you don't listen. My sheep, those who I have chosen, hear my voice and follow me. Whatever evidence you are confronted with," he says, "you won't believe it if you are not my sheep." See, Jesus claims that the Father has given certain people to him to shepherd. Indeed, they have double protection, since they are held by the hand of both the Father and the Son, and no power of hell or scheme of man can ever tear them away. The salvation of those who believe is as secure as the power of God is invincible. As Calvin says, Christ did not intend to throw his word foolishly into the air, but to give a promise which should remain deeply axed in their minds. I love that image. Deeply axed in their minds. We see salvation achieved in Revelation 7. An innumerable multitude from around the world declares that salvation belongs to our God. They ascribe it all to him and to the Lamb, whose blood washes them clean from sin. They are sheltered by his presence. They shall never hunger, nor thirst, nor burn in the sun or in hell. The sun will not strike them, nor any scorching heat. Rather, they will be shepherded by the Lamb, guided to refreshing streams, and tenderly cared for by a loving, sympathetic Father forever.